Speak now. Assalamu alaikum. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Personal dua. Oh Allah, make me to turn to you with a devout frame of mind and a sincere heart, as your prophets from Adam to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Make me to reason well the words that you reveal in your Quran to Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for our guidance as human beings, as a criteria to judge what is right and wrong for us as human beings. And oh Allah, make me to comprehend the words of Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and make me to comprehend, to apply his sunnah, the life you made him to rehearse before us as human beings, as a criteria for judging what is right and wrong for us as human beings. And oh Allah, make us to reverence the wombs of our mothers, and make us to empower our women for moral, spiritual, and social excellence for all human beings. A new day, a new dawn, a new beginning, a new remake the world, a new Deen al-Fitra. I never spoke before this many people. I do talk a lot, but never before a group. Pretty laid back, I guess. As much time as I spent with the Imam, I was telling the Imam, Nafis, Mohammed, I don't even think I ever took pictures. I would always stand back and be away. But let me just kind of introduce myself, because we all came in. I came in the Nation of Islam in 1968. I just turned 18, graduated from Germantown High, thank you. But I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, June 25th, 1950. I had two older sisters, and my mother, who brought us to Philadelphia around 1952. Fast forwarding it, when I went into the Nation of Islam, my lifelong companion had got introduced to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So we were 18, we just coming out of being teenagers. And we were still like, you know, running the neighborhoods, just having fun, partying. And he came to my home one Friday evening. And this was 1968, so that's when we was black and we was proud and we had afros. So he shows up that evening, we can really go party out of Bartram Village. We all ready. So he comes upstairs in my room, I'm getting dressed, says, man, I got something to tell you, man. He said, looking like one of those guys on the, you know, with the flowers outside. The moon people or something? Yeah. What'd you call them? Moonies. So he says, he's sitting over there, he said, man, we gods, man. I'm following Honorable Elijah Muhammad, man. We from the God tribe of Shabazz. I said, man, they done took you, man. What are you talking about, man? So he said, no, man, this is it, man. So I said, come on, man, we can really go party, man. So we went to the party, did go. And at the party, you know, we had ham, all the things we usually eat. That wasn't, you know, that was forbidden. So at 18 years old, everybody having fun. He's sitting there, he ain't doing nothing, because he's Muslim now. He followed Muhammad. So fast forwarding it as time went on, he was going to the mosque. And nobody went with him, nobody went. But me and him were so close, he started trying to get me to come out to one of the meetings. And so finally one Sunday I went. And we were on the bus, we weren't even driving yet, we didn't have a car. So we pulled up to the corner where the mosque was. I said, oh man, that's where we going, man, Muhammad's Mosque, Q number 12. So he said, yeah. So I went in. I was still smoking, had my little cigarettes with me and everything. So I had to get searched. So the guy said, take everything out your pocket, you know. I think I might have had, you know, my cigarettes, and you got a fingernail clip, anything, put it in a little bag. So brother come through the door, and he told me I had to get searched. So he said, his board down, he said, I got him. So he started searching me, you know, he turned around to stomp my heels, kick them up and everything, and check them up. I said, oh man, what these guys, all these guys know karate or something? What's going on? So I go up into the first meeting, and you sit down, and the guys are standing up there on their posts. Security, you know, guys sitting down like this here. It's my first time there. So I'm listening. So at the end, see, how many of you here for your first time? Raise your hand. So I raised my hand. He said, how many of you believe that, you know, here for your first time, that what you heard was the truth? All right. Those of you that believe that what you heard is the truth, how many of you willing to stand up today, come on up here and put your name in the Lamb's Book of Life? I said, man, these jokers ain't doing me on my first time out here, man. They ain't brainwashing me. I got to know a little bit more, but I don't know nothing about what's going on, man. They're going to have to tell me something else. So I ain't go there the first time, you know what I mean? But yeah, then the brother on the security, he's a little cockeyed, he's like this here. So I thought that his job was to check me because I was there for the first time. So it felt like his eye was always focused on me. so I said, man, these guys got me under surveillance, you know what I mean? So we go back downstairs, we're getting ready to leave. You know, we were soul food eaters, man. I ain't never had no succotash, brown rice, Akbar juice, lamb. The meal was so good. I actually said, man, if I didn't come back for no more than meat, I'm gonna come back and get something to eat. And a bean pie. So it wasn't no bean pie was. So finally, I came out the other meeting when we come out, like, you know, to the night services. So of all the assistant ministers that spoke this particular Sunday, it was a middle, I'll never forget, his name was Minister Nettle. He was very short. But his face was so shining and he looked so youthful. But what he taught on was, he had this little book on the swine's flesh, pork, the forbidden carcass. I said. So I'm sitting there listening. When he was talking about the worms, the trichina worms and the pus, I said, man, this devil ain't got over on me, man. Got me eating this garbage, man, all my life. So when he said, how many want to come up and accept me on and put your name in the ballot, I went on up. That's when I accepted to follow the Honorable Muhammad's teachings. In fact, I remember How They Used to Live was the first time I ever seen a definition of Satan or Shaitan. And How They Used to Live, those of you who've had it, Shaitan means one whose evil effects is not confined to oneself alone, but affects others. So I started to remember these things. But anyway, that was in '68. So as time went on, was fast forwarding it, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed, 1975. So I was with the National Secretary here and the brother, Abdul Hakim Shaker. They was trying to get some security help because the brother was from here, from Philadelphia, and the Imam and his wife, Sister Shirley, had been in Philadelphia, and Sister Layla was born here. And he kind of like wanted some of us to come out here to assist him, you know, when he came into office. So I was a part like of the security of brothers that would travel back and forth. So initially I came out to Barrington, Illinois. They got a place out there for the Imam to stay off the south side. So my job was to take care of that place and secure it. On December the 7th, no, in fact December the 8th, because I remember he gave a lecture December the 7th, which was like the day they bombed Pearl Harbor. And that day he talked about the sacrifice of Prophet Abraham and his willingness to sacrifice his son that day. So he came out to Barrington on the 8th, and it was him, Sister Shirley, Sultan, his nephew, Herbert Muhammad's son, and Lil Sadi, Sadr Deen was with him. And my man, Lil Sadi, may Allah forgive him sins and grant him the paradise. And he came in and he had to go to the bathroom. Chief said, "Go quickly, Sadi, go, go, go." So he ran up the steps. And so when the chief came in, he said, we're going to come out here, but not very often, but just get some things. Sister Shirley's going to come back, and I want you to take her and go to a little shopping. I said, "Yes, sir." So the brothers that was with him from security, he had named a lot of people traveling around. He'd given them the Islamic Muslim names. So he asked me, did I have a Quran? So I just said. So I still had Maulana Muhammad Salih sitting on the table. So I said, yeah. So he saw it, he did like that. He walked away from it. He didn't pick it up. Okay, so I'm saying, this is Quran, he ain't pick it up. Now, I don't know why, I ain't asked. So then he said, the brothers say you they minister. I said, no, I'm not no minister. He said, the brothers say you're a minister. I said, no, sir. He said, well, you their minister. So he went in the room, so he was going to give me my name, as he's named the other brothers. He said, you got paper? I said, yes, sir. He said, what's your name? I said, Brother Claude 3X. He said, no, your family name. I said, Corbett. He said, that's what I thought it was. Dropped his head and he started writing. So I'm kneeling next to him. And I saw the M-A-D. So I thought he was naming me Muhammad. So when he finished, he had wrote out Ahmad Shu'ib. So I said, Ahmad Shu'ib. He said, Shu'ib. I said, Shu'ib. He said, Shu'ib. I said, Shu'ib. But Imam Majid, he would know how to pronounce it better than me. So I said, what does it mean? He said, Ahmed means one who gives praises freely, but is generous for giving praises to Allah. He said, Shu'aib was a prophet in the Quran. You have to read Quran. But it has two meanings. One who is young or youthful in spirit, one who retains his youth, but is old and experienced, well seasoned. So I've gathered more understanding over the years. I'm 6.8, you know, right now. The decimal point is silent. And so that duality of things, it was all over the years that I was with him and as I watched him and we spent time together. And this is my brother here, my nephew. I had to pick him, get him and Gina and old Saudi to school every day. Saudi was the rough one. Saudi had to get candy and every day from the little store across the street from the school. I said, man, I can't get you that stuff, man. Your mom might want you to have it. You know, Saudi.
I apologize for all of us. Bringing some of that back.
Yeah. I said, no.
People that love you and your parents leave them with you, sometimes children
Yeah.
take advantage.
It was, I had to be
But
careful.
we loved every minute.
On
Praise
purpose,
the
on
Lord.
purpose.
Yeah.
On purpose.
I loved every minute with him.
Oh, yeah.
He was an excellent substitute for not having your dad,
Praise
somebody
the
that
Lord.
was with you all the time, and all of a sudden he snatched away from you because he has a big job to do.
Mm.
But this brother, he was a good, sincere brother, and still is.
Praise
I
the
love
Lord.
you for that. And I remember, and I appreciate
Yes.
hearing that. One day we got to get the whole story in detail.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes,
because
sir.
I'm hearing it from your point of view. I have my point of view. I remember Barrington.
Mm,
I
yeah.
remember how they took my father out of the house in the middle of the night with a bulletproof vest on and a salt and pepper
Right.
wig on.
Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah.
He disappeared. We all went to Barrington.
Right.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, he said,
The
he,
FBI, somebody came down and said some really dangerous people. They coming, so the dad got to go with us.
there was a lot
And
going
we
on.
went to Barrington.
There was a lot going on. The law saved him from so much.
That was scary for us, but for
Right.
you, that was
Yeah.
your job.
Mm.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. for
Oh, no, please.
I just
What
felt
year was that?
compelled, I felt compelled to give my.
1975.
That was in 75?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah, I
sir.
was just a little guy, but it was, it was scary. My mother was scared, so I was scared.
That was before the Savior's Day? So right
No, that
after-
was
right
after
it,
Savior's
right
Day.
after, right
Yeah, after
I get it,
Savior's
I
Day.
get it, I get it.
Was Munir out there? Did you stay? Some of y'all
Yeah,
stayed.
Munir, yeah.
Some
We
of
was
y'all
back
stayed.
and forth.
Yeah.
Because we had to travel back and forth to Chicago, to Philly, because with our
Pick up where
family.
you left off.
No, okay. Yeah, so, there was a night, I trusted these man because all of us were so committed to his father. We would give our lives for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. No questions asked. And so now I had to see, how do we deal with the white man as the devil? I'm with Imam Mohammed. And we knew that, I'll tell you another little funny thing. First time I was flying with him. You heard what I just said? No, I'll tell you about when let me just go back right quick because of when I came in. So when I came in after I heard about the pork and everything, and I wasn't going to eat it no more, I went home. I wasn't cooking out no pots that they had pork in. And I had two sisters and they had two daughters, my two nieces. So I started checking the closets out and looking at the food, and they had curve of baby food and had lard in it and stuff. I started throwing them in the trash and everything. So my sister came home and asked my mother, I have baby food up there, where the baby food at? You better ask your brother, he's Muslim now. You know, he said, his nieces ain't eating no pork, and I don't here. So my father heard about it, and he worked for the gas company. And every Friday I would, he had a 65 Buick Wildcat, so I used to try to buff it up and everything and clean it before he get home from work. So this particular evening he came home, he said, sit down, boy, I want to talk to you. I said, yes, sir. He said, I heard you don't want to join them black Muslims, huh? I said, yes, sir. He said, you don't think I knew anything about them? I said, well, you never told me. He said, I was supposed to take care of 6 of y'all calling the white man the devil. I said, well, I think we heard the truth. You should stand up for it. So my father said, now, no, I said, I always told you, boy, you got a good head on your shoulder. But I always told you, don't be a follower, be a leader. I said, now, I know you're stubborn when you make up your mind to do something. I was 18 years old now, 6.8, when he told me this. He said, well, you in now. All I could say, once you get in, you can't get out. Because they tried, of all the things the preachers was doing and what was going on, my father was telling us that they think that Honorable Elijah Muhammad stealing and taking our money. That they was, the ones. Yeah, so that's what my situation was with my father. He said, man, you in now. Once you get in, you can't get out. But if you can see me today, praise be to Allah. And then there's other things that I wanted to do when I was still believing in Santa Claus and hanging out with my brothers and friends. Something about a mother. My mother said, boy, you know what your problem gonna be in life? I don't know what my mother was gonna say. I was between 8 and 10 years old, still believing in Santa Claus, cowboy guns and everything. Your problem gonna be you can't tell people no, son. You got to learn to tell people no. People don't care nothing about you. People will use you, you do for something, just worry about your own. So all I said was yes, ma'am. But I thank Allah today that you all can bring me any document that you got from the legal system, and I'll show you the black ant on the black rock on the moonless darkest night. From documents that they give us to voluntarily, knowingly, and intelligently sign, without a shotgun behind our head, without slave chains on, without being forced, compelled, threatened to sign it. And that's what Brother Imam was talking about in this Arabic, trust. Everything is related to trust. But just recently I was thinking about Khalifa, but it's the Arabic term, Khalifa. But what was the duty of the Khalifa? Allah said, get ye down to the earth, which will be your dwelling place and your livelihood for a while. But you don't own nothing. You can't own nothing. There's no U-Haul truck following you to the graveyard to be buried. And one of the key things that we have to do is be involved with setting up family trust. Absolutely. Not wills. Because now you're going back to what's legal. And the lawyers are going to take everything from you. It doesn't belong to us. But anyway, I remember a lot of times, one early night after the Imam had just came in the office, and we came from the masjid, and it was a group around the table. His oldest brother, Imam was there, Dr. Salam, Imam Yusuf Shaw, well, he wasn't even Imam yet, Minister Yusuf Shaw, Minister James Shabazz, and there was a whole group on the table, around the table. So I was sitting next to the Chief, and he said, all that I want to tell you, I couldn't tell you when my father passed, because you would have went to the grave with him. He said, so I went here and said, man means mine. And that's again a part of Brother Jesus' talk on Arabic. And mind means thinking. He said, I only know two things that Al-Islam teach you. The knowledge of Allah's power and His nature. That's what he said that night. So all that I would be conscious of and watching, like I was telling Deen before we came out, when I would come by the house, I would see he had all his work on the table, constantly working everything. I ain't asking nothing, but I saw this big dictionary, the Oxford English Dictionary. And he said to us, words mean, words make people. So I went over to the bookstore, Chicago bookstore, looking for it. Now this was in 1975. It had a little drawer that comes out at the top because the letters are so small, you need a magnifying glass. That's how you study. Yeah. It was going to cost me $99. They ain't cost $100. It cost me $99 to get that. Yeah. And then, so these are the things I'm trying to learn, because he said when he came out that Sunday, and all of you were here, he said, put my father's lessons and teachings on the shelf and take Abdullah Yusuf Ali's translation. This is what I want you to have. Not even hadiths. And if you'll listen to me, and like Imam Deen said, you come here, you don't want nothing, you ain't taking notes. He said, and you'll take notes, I guarantee you within 1 year you'll see the problems in hadith. I get so many hadiths, I really just, because he didn't take me to him. But if you ask me about a hadith, I'm going to say, well, what about the brother and sister about to lose their home for foreclosures? What about the letter that came for attempting to collect the debt because you failed to make a payment. Give me the hadiths that'll help you with that. Save you, save your home, save your family. And also, one of the other things that I've gone through, as I watched him, one day we went to the First National Bank. I'm just telling you personal things that I had with the experiences with the man, because the Prophet of Hadith, authentic Hadith, he said, you can never say that you know a person unless you had a dealing with them, you've traveled with them, and you've seen them in action. Yeah. One of the, we used to like to go to movies. You know that, right?
It's my childhood.
The first movie that he broke down to us, because under Nation of Islam we weren't supposed to go to the movies. It was a movie called The Omen with Gregory Peck and Lee Remick. That Sunday he came out, it was the first time I realized we could go to movies because he went. And he spoke about it, and he was a little devil, little Damien. And Lee Remick was up on the balcony, the mother. And he was on a tricycle, and he kept riding around on a tricycle. So the chief was explaining, as he was going around on the tricycle, his mother was getting dizzy. It was, you know, up on the balcony, and she fell down and he killed her. Killed his mother. The devil killed his mother, so like, he said, but the tricycle represented the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The Trinitarian doctrine is what they would go around the world with to deceive the people. And for many years, I didn't even know that Hong Kong had to get its freedom, okay, from the British and all these other places. These are things that we didn't know. But your father, or Imam Mohammed, there's some other things that, you know, that I always watched him, always paid attention. When he changed to the Nation of Islam, I mean the World Community of Al-Islam in the West, we were at the bank, and we used to make some deposits from W. Mohammed Publications. And it was a vice president whenever we came, instead of using the teller. So Miss Porter, we were sitting there, and he took out the checks and gave them to her so she could cash them, so she could total them up. So she said, "Is that it?" She called me Your Honor. "Is that it, Your Honor?" He said, "Yeah, I guess so." Okay. So all right. So when she walked away, I said, "Chief, look, you have to excuse me. When I say chief." And let me tell you why I even still like Chief so much. He said, Supreme Minister, man, was too much for him, man. He said, I can't wear no title like that. So he came out, he said, I was trying to figure out what title I would use. He said, and I found out what it was. He said, Lil Sadi, he said, my son, he would be walking around doing things. And I said, come here, Chief. Chief, come here. So that's when he said he started calling himself Chief Minister instead of Supreme Minister. He used Lil Sadi. So that even reminds me of your little brother, man. Praise be to Allah. Yeah, Lil Sadi was rough, though, wasn't he? He was the boss, because Lil Sadi, when they wanted to bring his bike out, I don't know if he was inside the house or not. So Chief said, Sadi, you can't take that bike out right now. So he's out there in the car in security. So when I see him trying to come out, I come up to the door. So he said, Sadi, you can't take that bike out right now. So Sadi kept pushing the bike. Chief had a little switch in his head. So he talking about, Sadi, I told you can't take that bike out. Then he said, Brother Shu'ib, keep an eye on him. Just keep Sadi wanted to ride him down the street. You know what I mean? He said, Brother Shu'ib, just keep an eye on him. He was doing. And something else to eat, man, brother. I'm just going, man. I feel really good about things, man. But brother, Imam Najee, about the, he studied the etymology of things. Well, he studied so much, we can't even begin to say what Imam Muhammad studied, man. But one day I was in New York, And he had allowed us to, well, he allowed a group called the Inviters to Truth, Sister Dai and a brother named Abdullah. It was kind of like the first rap that he allowed. Who's it?
She was Dahia.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Dahia babysit for us too.
Yeah.
I mean, she looked after her.
Right, yeah. So he called that night, Imam W.D. Mohammed Inviters to Truth. So he let us do the tapes for him. In fact, we had just got away from 8 tracks, The Need for Leadership, second annual convocation with Pastor T.L. Barrett, and still was an 8-track for the Atlanta Jubilee. So they finally got to cassettes. So we got the cassette, and we had them printed, and it was $16,000. So the day we had to go get the, I told the chief we had, it was $16,000, so we still went to Guarantee Bank to get the $16,000. Okay, I'm gonna give you another very important point of what I studied from this day, but he didn't tell me this is exactly what the verse was in the Quran. So we went to Guarantee, got the $16,000 check, cashier's check. As we was getting ready to get in the car, I went to open the front door. You know how your father was. He said, "I'm glad you want to sit up front. I'm sitting in the back." so he jumped in the back, and I got up front. So he passed me the cashier's check. He said, "Give me a receipt." So I went on my thing. I said, "Chief, I don't have no receipt books right now." So he tore up a piece of paper. He said, "Write it on there." So I said, this day, received of Chief Minister Wallace D. Muhammad, guarantee cashier's check in the amount of $16,000 for Imam W.D. Muhammad Inviters to Truth tapes, and I signed it. He said, "That's perfect, Brother Shu'ib." He said, "Remember this, never give money or take money without getting a receipt." He said, "Suppose I told you you didn't give me that, and we had to go to court. Who they gonna believe? You or the Chief Minister, Wallace Muhammad?" He said, so he said, "That's not America." He said, "That's our Islam." He said, "There was no accountability for years." He said, "They could walk into business and pick up cash and no accountability for it." I don't know how long it took me, because I was always watching from him, how do I make application of Quran? So finally one day I'm reading the longest verse in the Quran. Now, if Allah says each verse of the Prophet is brief, but with the broadest meanings, so much is involved in it. Why is the longest verse 282? So it says, "O ye who believe." When I read, "O ye who believe" in the Quran, I say, "O Ahmad Shu'ib, yes, my Lord. What are you getting ready to tell me? What do you want me to do? O ye who believe, let the one who incurs the liability dictate. Take 2 witnesses from among you, 2 males, and if not a male, and 2 females. And let them not fear to testify if called upon, because that's the best evidence." Now my saying is, all we know at the end is what we needed to know at the beginning. So we were on the plane one day, and he said to me, I said, "Quran." He said, "Quran." I said, "Quran." He said, "Qur'ani." Brother Shu'ib, there's 2 ways to teach a man, direct and indirect. Allah chooses to teach you indirectly because it forces you to think. So I got that. Now, all the way through that verse, and the man, you ain't know it better than me. "O you believe, let the one who incurs a liability dictate." If you didn't dictate something and you signing it, what does that mean? Pardon me?
Giving yourself away to whatever.
No, you've accepted dictatorship. If you sign something that you didn't take, and everything they give you is terms and conditions. Terms are not common language for human beings. It's legal language. I started to take some courses, and I thought maybe one day I might want to go to law school. Oh, I'm not insulting or saying anything disrespecting an attorney, but They take oaths, so they said this is what they're going to do. So I'm looking at the LSAT, law school test. I'm looking at Temple University. I said maybe I was going to go. I took some real estate courses and stuff when I got back to Philly. He said, legal reasoning, legal rationale, legal logic, and legal intellect. I pray to Allah, make me to have God-given human and religious and sunnah reason. God-given religious and sunnah rationale. God-given religious intellect. We have to ask for what Allah created us from a congealed clot of blood. Again, two things. First revelation to the prophet. Iqra, read. Did you read that? R-E-A-D. Read it. R-E-A-D. When you recite something, that's what we do when we're making our prayers in congregation. Nothing personal. But you recite Quran to Allah because that's pure and perfect and it has no imperfections for all of us in unity. But now you got to read. Read means to carefully examine, study, and investigate something. And so reach your mind with understanding to safeguard and protect you as a human being. Legal doesn't give you that. It gives you what's called regulatory statutes and things. So the things that I learned, I see people doing this. How dangerous that is. It has nothing to do with Allah. It has to do with Satan is doing to you. He only needs one signature with no witnesses. Your application for your credit card, your mortgage, your loan, one witness. You can fill out an application, apply for a credit card, and they send it to Tucson, Arizona. They ain't never even saw you. They send it back in the mail. Because the person knows enough about you, your credit card, where you work, how much you make, all your personal information, because the system is set up and it's designed to argue. Attorneys argue. Because they don't have what? O ye who believe, let the one who incurs the liability dictate and take two witnesses. There's no witness in the court. And at the end of that verse, I realized, when your father told me, I said, your father, okay. I'm kind of talking direct to you because I see you, right?
And I'm listening.
I see the worth of Deen over there in the second, right? Praise be to Allah. Well, it's important because a man look for a son. Like I said, when did I mention just now when I told you?
Some people don't have that in their heart. It's in your heart, so you address me in that manner.
Right.
I appreciate it.
See, because when y'all started going to Clara Muhammad, see, y'all wasn't there because your father was out. So when y'all started going, when he came in, y'all went over there, y'all didn't have no afro, with no FOI
I actually went to Montessori school until he came in.
He came in? Okay.
Yeah, that's a Catholic school, and it's kind of
Right.
different from, it's like kind of offbeat type of Catholic school.
All right. So when it took him,
experimental, it was
Right.
back then, in the 70s.
yeah, Montessori is the best, especially for young girls too, because it tells them how to take up their home, how to take care of things. And we got to stay private. Got to get out of being public. You don't want daycare centers because how you going to have a guy come down from the state with a clipboard to tell a ummi how to take care of babies, human beings. But if you go public, that's what you got. It should be nurturing and awareness. Nurturing and awareness. In fact, I want to start I guess, can I talk freedom?
Help yourself.
I'm in the family. I already have, I want to have a women's association. You don't have to have no brothers at the meeting. The name is going to be Reverence the Wombs That Bore You, empowering the mother to achieve the moral, spiritual, and social excellence for human beings. You're better for us than we are to ourselves. I wouldn't be looking like this if I didn't have a committed helper and a committed partner. I don't know what I would have wore here. I don't know how I would have been prepared. You too, Sister Robert. Sister Robert, smile.
I got my shoes. Where's my shirt?
She said, why don't you tell them to pick another time in the springtime? Because I would
I don't
tell
even
her.
think about it. I don't care what I wear. Whatever she says.
That's it.
what I wear.
That's it. I would tell them about how to do certain things, and even the grands. I tell them, look, they call her Nana Beena. I said, Nana Beena's not always right, but she's never wrong. so they know to say that to her now. I said, what I tell you about Nana Beena? She'd ask me, did you have your water today? Did you have your bowel movement? Did you have this? Did you do that? And I'm something else your father said. And Al-Nisa, the first Nisa in the marriage ceremony, it says, reverence your guardian Lord. Anything Brother Imam Ajin could help me with when I don't say things right according to the Arabic. Okay? Text, please. Okay. Reverence your guardian Lord who created you from a congealed excuse me. Al-Nisa. Reverence your guardian Lord. Okay? Who created you from a single person, scattered like countless seeds in the many. And fear him from whom you demand your mutual rights, and reverence the wombs that bore you. So I thought about that. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the Ummi prophet, a prophet of motherhood. And reverence something, you should have respect for things. But he uses reverence, the wombs that bore you in relationship to the mother. That means not the respect, but sacred respect. He's using it for, again, Brother Man, if you could help me. When he says sacred respect, your father said that is the only time in the Quran that Allah allows us to address him with authoritatively, when he say, from you we demand our mutual rights. Every time you see the word mutual, it moves you away from oneness into unity. Everything has to be collective togetherness. That's why when he says, my favorite is Al-Asa, by the token of time through the ages, verily man is lost except such as come together in faith, not belief. So you got to be careful with belief, because you can sign an internal revenue form called a 1040, and at the bottom, after they put all that stuff on there, they say, sign here. Under penalty of perjury, I declare that I have examined the accompanying schedules and statements, and to the best of my knowledge and belief, they are all true, correct, and my belief, you didn't fill out none of those things. Under penalty of perjury, I declare me, you ready to go to jail. I declare, I guarantee you, look back on all of your forms that you've ever filled out on 1040s, you cannot even put your name in there. We talk about pronouns. It's not a noun, right, brother? So I declare. You can send me to jail. So it says, and to the best of my knowledge and belief. Oh, you believe in what? That mice are sacred and they had a temple of them over in India? Oh, what is your belief? Oh, that a cow is sacred and you ain't eating no beef? Belief. They play on our belief systems. They play on my belief systems. And again, I like to watch movies, and one is Shooter, with Mark Wahlberg. And they crossed him. I don't know if people see Shooter. But there's a statement that he's making there, if I ain't seen none of the rest of the movie. When they told him, he said, look, well, they crossed him. They was going out there, and Danny Glover, the guy, said they wanted him to show him how to assassinate a president. The best, he was the best. Bob Lee Sweat. He said, you think he's going to accept? He's going to accept. He just don't know it yet. This is a man of duty and patriotism, not his punchlines, but his core beliefs. And when a man's core beliefs collapse, he don't know what to do. Bob Lee is one of them. Everybody in the military, how'd he get there? Voluntary. They have to get us to do something voluntarily, of your own free will, and then you're going to give your life to that. This is where we be at. So I apply these things, and when I'm studying, okay, I look at the mortgage. It says, quote, loan, end quote, quote, borrow, end quote, quote, security, end quote. They just put quotation marks around those words that mean it had nothing to do with you as a common everyday person. It's all legal. It's all legal now. That's what they're going to charge you with. It says, quote, borrow, end quote. When they put quotation marks around it, something that belongs to the legal profession, not to you. Has nothing to do with your religion. And I'm just very quickly saying, you got a license from the city, you ain't married to your religion, you better get rid of it. Allah says mutual agreement. Did you say it on these? Mutually agree means you got to have a contract. You got to have agreements. We don't have agreements. We don't have contract. And the best protection in a contract, when the man held up that flag and said, American, I can't even show you my little, when I started studying the Constitution and learned that it had nothing to do with us. It's to safeguard and protect you if you need it. But when you volunteer to do something, you don't need no help. You'll give your life anywhere and any place and at any time. Volunteers don't get nothing. So they need you to voluntarily, and that's everything that goes on. Volunteer with your own free will, and that's what Satan knows. He got that. You gave me no power or authority over him whatsoever. I just gave him the application, and he signed it. Didn't force him to do it, didn't threaten him into doing it. Hey, blame me not, you wrong your own soul. You know what I mean? And well, I said when I was in the, when he changed us to the World Community of Al-Islam in the West, so I was sitting there and the lady, she went over. I said, Chief, could you give me an objective to keep in mind now that you don't refer to us as the Nation of Islam anymore, but the World Community of Al-Islam in the West? He said, yeah, Brother Shu'ib, so I could see, so we'll be in agreement. I said, yes, sir, give me an objective. I said, I remember reading the book, Fall of America. Brother said to your father, Elijah, why do you give so much definition? Then your father said, brother, can you understand without definition? And the chief said to me, he said, to combat the individual and community problems that contribute to the needless waste of human and material resources. That's what he told me that day. And at some point, my office was downstairs in the masjid where the publication was. So I got brother, what was the brother who was the communicator? His father used to always be there when we came in. He was an artist
Wally?
too. Yeah, Wally.
Wally,
Yeah.
senior and
Yeah, his father was there.
yeah, communicator.
Yeah, he was. So he put my objective that the Imam had given me on my door down the W. Muhammad publication.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to combat the individual and community problems that
I
contribute
remember that.
to the needless waste of human and material resources.
As you saying, I
Right.
remember you downstairs in your office.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all used to run around down there.
Yeah.
It was sad because I had to take y'all home. Yeah, so he's he had told Imam Qasim Ahmad and Imam Kamal Jamaluddin, Ibrahim Jamal, Kamal Kamaluddin, yeah, Victor. That was my brother. May Allah forgive him his sins, grand in paradise. Chief said, we can't get the people to come here to the masjid. He said, so I want y'all to go out. And we used to call it an honorable Elijah Muhammad. We say we was fishing, right? So the chief said, we're gonna call it the New Earth Team. So we was fill it as net. So the three of us, he said he wanted us to go out to the centers and different places where brothers were in prison and stuff like that there. And Deen always had his little chalkboard, right? And he would draw the little stick figure of the man on it. And he would teach, man means mine, you know what I mean? And so when Qasim, chief said, these jokers is fat, they just washed up over here on the south side, man, we got to do something else. So he sent Imam Qasim over to the west side. So Imam Qasim, he came over, he said, look what I did, man. On the back of his Imam business card, to combat the individual and community problems that contribute to the needless waste of human and material resources. And then when I met with Brother David Hassan,
That's Qasim's card?
Qasim Ahmed,
That was his
that's,
card?
no, he put that statement, that objective on the back of his business card when he went over the
Qasim.
west side to be the man.
Under what?
The man Qasim Ahmed. And I gave this to Brother David Hassan when they was trying to get a mission statement for the collective purchasing. And I gave that to David Hassan, and he put that on his mission statement. Yeah, it's got to do that. I mean, so, you know, nothing changes. There's no altering or changing the nature in which Allah has created all life, and everything always has to apply to us. But you all have to be careful, because every time you see the word unilateral means one. Uniform Commercial Code, that means you're being regulated, you're being controlled. But statutes, codes, and things that don't have nothing to do with you as a human being. And everything you look at is going to have corpus on it. Corpus means something that is dead. Mortgage is dead. A mortgage is a death instrument. It means it's something that was going to come to someone. Let's say you were an inheritor of something, and you can get something in advance because you're guaranteed to receive it later. That's what nepotism is about. See, when we look at how in the longest verse in the Quran near the end, it says, and in commercial contract, take witnesses, or it is wickedness. See, so everything that you have, it only requires your one signature. There's no contract. Okay, so everything is, and then I was thinking the other day when your father said to us, he said, the first resurrection, this is the second resurrection. How do you give something that's dead life? And people in prison. And I like to, because I know mothers are very concerned, because a lot of wayward things happen to us. But prisons wouldn't be filled up. The Prophet said, there was a hadith that the Prophet was repeating himself. Brothers are in prison, or if we happen to have had that unfortunate situation, they wouldn't be there. Disobedience to your parents is a major sin. Disobeying your parents is a major sin. Disobeying your parents is a major sin. Everybody in prison said, damn, man, if I hadn't did that, man, I shouldn't have did this and I shouldn't have did that. My mother told me. But what's mom going to do? Kind heart. Well, how much you need on the books, baby? And you know I ain't teach you like that. You shouldn't be doing that. You know that wasn't right. Yeah, Mom, I'm trying to get some Seth Jordan sneaks or something like that there. Running up the phone bill. Why can't he pay the phone bill? But there are certain things that we need to understand. That there's two things. You can't believe in one thing and not believe in another. Everything is a duality in our lives. You can't go here on the perfect side. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's the perfect side? Okay, well, you great, go out in the world here with your shortcomings and your imperfections. And you assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Over here, so that's the thousand anybody? Okay. Everything is duality. So, you know, and so when I think back on when the man gave me my name, one, I didn't know I would be applying it like this, you know, over the years, okay, but it became so significant to me. And I've been thinking, I'll tell you when I came in the meeting with this in 2007. I've been studying this for 10 years, man. For 10 years. Yeah, I gave him this thing, and came back here. In fact, Rafai was with him, and he came in. Told Rafai to wait outside. Me and him was in the hall. So I was going over all this with him. He said, Brother Shu'ib, something probably you could help me with, right? So I said, yes, sir. I said, I told you, I'm just, I showed him my ticket, my airline ticket. I said, look, I round trip, $141. He said, yeah, man, you always did know how to do it. He said, I just use this American Express card. Because that's all he would ever use, right? So he said, so I was going over these things with him. And he said, it might be something you could help me with. I mean, it's just personal, but he said, he said, yeah, you got this timeshare. He said, I keep telling them that I don't want it, and I'm supposed to go meet them. I go there, and they ain't there, and so I said, he said, look, I ain't gonna pay it. I said, Chief, you can't not pay it. That's dishonor. He said, okay, well, I'm not gonna do that. This was 2007. He said, I'm waiting to get back with you, get everything together, and then, I'll do what you tell me. Praise be to Allah. So I just kept trying to apply the things that, I was listening and watching him do. And one day we was at the bank, at First National, we was going down, and he said, Brother Shu'ib, I never close this account out. He said, some told me to not close. I said, if I needed $1 to keep it open, I kept this account open. So we went down to the safety deposit box, to get the passport. So we went back upstairs. So when he come, the little group of jokers will, bring us in the office. So we came in the office, and father said, I feel like I'm talking to him, so that's why I keep saying your father said this.
I feel like he here listening.
So he said, you know how funny he was sometimes.
Exactly.
He said,
and you on point, brother. You didn't miss the step.
He said,
I bear witness to everything that
praise
you're
be
saying.
to Allah.
That sounds just like my
right. He said, how much money you got to have in this bank to see the president? Because they had the vice president in there, and a couple of them jokers. So I'm sitting there, and he pulls out, oh, that's somebody called the thing. So he pulls out the checkbook. He said, I know y'all think we don't believe in interest, but I appreciate you bring that up to date. Get all that interest up in there. That's what you better do, right? And then we was waiting to go in, and he happened to just start talking to me about W.D. Farad. He said, Professor Muhammad Abdullah, he definitely, nobody knew this, and he never wanted it known because it would have put so much on him. He lived out in Oakland. And he said, Professor Muhammad Abdullah was a very kind and good man. He said he lived in the Fiji Islands. All of his children were born in the Fiji Islands. And he told me this day, he said he would always go out to try to help people. He said he went somewhere, and he didn't tell me exactly where it was. It might have been Egypt, India, somewhere, but it was a doctor who had a lot of needs for the people that he was trying to help in the community. So he said, Professor Muhammad Abdullah went out to raise money, and he would never knew how long he would be away from his family. And he said he went, and until he got the kinds of equipment that this doctor needed to help people before he left. And then we talk about traveling, how convenient you should travel, you know what I mean? I'll tell you a movie he did like, man, called Grease, with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John.
He had to. He took us so
that was
he used to take my sister and all her friends. And the next day, he'd take me and all my friends. And then they would go back again. I don't know who he was taking, but it was always a carload. Back then, you could sit on laps, you didn't have to wear seatbelts.
Yeah.
So it'd be as many people you get in there. That's how many people was in the car.
We go to movies, man.
Some be on the floor.
Yeah, that's right.
I
I got a movie, one of my favorites, that I've learned some things, called Django. And my wife and daughter said, if Quentin Tarantino heard what you get out of that movie, they wouldn't believe it. If I was to say right now, I'm a bounty hunter. I'm a bounty hunter. Wanted, dead or alive. Only the names have been changed. The bounty hunter goes after the one who's been mistreating people, stealing, taking advantage of people, killing them. J.P. Morgan, Chase, Wells Fargo, all unjust enrichment. You sit down at a table and you're trying to enter into an agreement, but it's unilateral. There's no agreement. You sit down with a multi-billion-dollar, I call them big whales. They were never going to teach us how to swim with the whales without getting eaten out. So that's what it is. You know what I mean? I got a little joke I like to tell about never argue with children. A 3-year-old kindergarten said to her teacher, "They tell me that Jonah was swallowed by a whale." And the teacher said it's impossible for a whale to swallow a human being. The little girl said, "Well, they tell me Jonah was swallowed by a whale." The teacher said, "Even though a whale is a big mammal, it cannot swallow a human being. It's impossible." So the little girl said, "Well, when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask Jonah." And the teacher said, "What if Jonah didn't go to heaven and he went to hell?" The little girl said, "Then you ask him." Yes, sir.
You referred to something you studied for 10 years, something. What is that document that you said you studied?
This right here?
Yes.
Oh, this was, I had to meet, this was a Ramadan session, and I was here visiting,
Okay.
and I had wanted to meet with the Imam, and because I had been away from him, and when he held up, like I said, when he held up the flag, I never stopped studying the Constitution and trying to see how he wanted us to apply it to be American Muslims in America. Okay, and the most important thing and the dangerous thing for us is, in 1933, that's when he was born. In 1933, that's when America was bankrupt. It can never pay any of the debt that it has now. Never, never, ever. So we were pledged by the Franklin Delano Roosevelt, all the things about Social Security and all those things. The Imam knew and understood all that stuff, and he grew up and seeing these things happen to us. So Allah guided, like he said, yeah. Okay, when he first came in, he said he studied the Bible. He didn't just study Quran, and then he told us to put hadiths on the shelf. I mean, what good is it going to do me? Abu Bakr's son was said to be, "Oh yeah, brother Imam, Prophet Muhammad. What is the middle prayer? What is the midday prayer?" He said, "Oh, the one that's in the middle." Okay, so that's for all human beings, for all times. I mean, forevermore. He was answering the question related to what that child needs were. You know what I mean? So he told us, put it on the shelf. He said, if you take notes within 1 year, you'll be able to see the problem in our deed. The verses I like, 3 verse 7. There are verses in the book that are basic and fundamental of establishing. That's what you follow. Others are allegorical. And those that are allegorical, somebody want to be able to come to you with something they need to interpret. You got 114 surahs from Allah, basic and fundamental. And you tell me you got to break something down to me? Allah said, and those who come to you with something that is allegorical, they're seeking discord and confusion. And none knows its hidden meanings except Allah, and those who are firmly rooted in knowledge say, I believe in the book. The whole of it is from my Lord, but none will grasp his message except men of understanding. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in Hadith said, when Allah wants to do good by a person, he makes him to comprehend religious knowledge, not the secular work. Because the religious knowledge reverts to, he created us from a congealed clot of blood. We're human beings. You cannot control or regulate a human being. So everything that you do that is legal, statutes, and codes, and all that stuff, we got to stay on the private side. You got a dollar bill, what does it say? Federal Reserve note, a note is what? A dead instrument. You can't pay nothing with a note. A note is something in the future. I'll get it to you later. And this note is legal tender. Legal tender, there we go again. Legal means you've given up a right for something. You're giving up a right for something or something that has value to it. Both public and private. They never take away from you your private rights. But it's all contract. And trust, everything has to be in a contract. I mean, and that's what they use, I mean, for us. I don't know, brother.
No, I'm just,
Yeah.
my wheels are just turning. I'm just hoping everybody understands where he coming from. There was certain people, and there was Imam, as we know Imam, but then there was Imam, the businessman, who lived a normal life and who had happened to be surrounded by a lot of young men who were extremely sincere, good people, wanted to serve, just really good, sincere people, and they truthful and loyal. So when Imam mentioned, because I'm reflecting on myself, Imam mentioned something that he wanted, and he thought I could get it for him because of my desire to help him or to see him satisfied with me. It might have been, I don't know what motivated me, but I would do something until I achieved that goal. And that's what I see in you. A lot of people, if it's not in it, something in it for them, money or some type of glory or fame or something like that, a lot of people just don't have that loyalty and don't have that faith. So you not only were loyal to Imam Muhammad, but you believed in him and you trusted him.
Yeah, trust.
So if he asked you to do something, you sincerely, with a sincere heart, and then that's how you tap into your God-given resources, the human being that God made, whose ability to achieve is boundless. You know, what we can achieve has no bounds if Allah supports it. So these brothers are able to do things, and Imam, and only Imam. Hey, there's people gonna be studying our community, and men like, now it's men, other men in this room just like that. Men like you, for probably thousands of years, they still puzzled. They don't understand. Like how a black man born in the ghettos of Detroit have people that love him so much that they almost like one mind and one spirit. And when they walk in the room with us, they feel that and they knew that. When Imam Muhammad first became the leader, it was almost as if you walked into the presence of something unworldly, like a holy. If you ever thought God or the angels was present on earth, you thought you just witnessed.
Right.
And I was a child, and I know a lot of people that knew that there was that sincere love. And I'm sure there's probably other communities. You can probably go to somebody's family reunion and you'll see sincere love and respect for the grandmother or the father. That exists amongst black people. But for black leadership, we got something special and real unique, but they scatter. And that's what I don't understand. It's like, why we scatter? Why don't we continue the same love and respect for each other and faith and put all of this petty stuff that we don't own? Everything you saying, I agree with. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't study 5 minutes in law or nothing. And I probably would never do it either. But I believe you and your sincerity because the truth is universal.
That's
and
what
you're
you've got to
saying,
do,
I can make the connections.
Yes, sir. Yes.
The last ayat that you mentioned is an ayat that gave me perhaps, I look back at perhaps the greatest motivating factor for me to, other than, than what Imam Muhammad had told us, about the Quranic Arabiya. And that was the last words you said, and none will grasp its meaning except men of understanding. That baffled me.
Okay.
So I got it's clear now. But because I say, well, that's why I got the book to get understanding. Now you tell me I can't get understanding, that's I already got it. But that's not no, it literally doesn't say but men of understanding. It says ulul al-bab.
Okay.
Bab is door. Ulul is first. Except you got to first be open. That's what it says. Before you can get this message, you got to first be open to it. Ulul al-bab. So I just thought I would share that with you because that was one of the most. How are you going to tell me that I can't get the message unless I already got understanding? That's why I got the book here to try to get understanding. Now you're going to tell me I can't get it unless I already got it. And I studied that word, and Allah blessed me to come to understand. Bab, anybody will tell you, Bab is door. Okay. Ulu is coming from the word awala, which means first. First, you got to be open. If you, just like you can't get anything in a closed fist, you can't get anything in a closed mind.
Right. I'm gonna tell you another one of my favorite. I like Surah Al the B. 78. It is He who brought you forth from the wombs of your mothers, and you knew nothing. He gave you the faculty of hearing, faculty of sight, and the faculty of intellect and affection, that you may give thanks to Allah. Do they not see the bird held poised in the midst of the air and the sky? Nothing holds it up but the power of Allah. So when we was talking, Brother Worth, about education, that's what helped me. And then every time Allah uses the faculties in Quran, He always uses hearing first. You hear in the womb, but you don't see. And hearing is 360 degrees. In the ascension into the heaven, when the angel Jibril came and put him on Barak, it said each stride is like moving forward, was as wide as the eye could see. See, everything is broad, and again in two degrees. Allah gives us that. So when I looked at that on education, now I was telling you, education destroys. It means, destroy means to pile things up and scatter them until you break it down. The curriculum that they have, curriculum means to put something into a thing to control it. And they need to control us in their industry, their politics, and their government. And they want you to come, that's why I like Django, Candyland. Come to Candyland. And just like when he's riding into town, and Dr. Schultz said, what's everybody staying at? They ain't never seen a nigger riding on a horse before. 1858, 2 years before the Civil War. And who's the first person you see? A doctor telling the woman what kind of medication to take. He said, the nigga don't ride on the horse. And then when they get in the saloon, the guy, he don't see him, he said, who's here? No, he didn't say who's here. He said, 2 beers for 2 weary travelers. He ain't say a white man and a nigga or a slave. And when he turned around, he said, whoa, boy, what you doing with that nigga here? Man, get that nigga out of here. And he started running like somebody had a gun on him. Man, sheriff. He said, yeah, get the sheriff, not the marshal. So that's why I say being a bounty hunter is going after the ones that's bad. And the only way you can do that is, once I look at things, say, oh Lord, make me to comprehend and to understand these words. Okay? If I don't ask Allah for that, and break with the night, Allah said, which of my servants, when I come down in the third of the night, so I give him what he's begging for. I mean, and then when you said in a Fatiha, the first part is for Allah, and the second part is for my servant, and my servant shall have what he's asked. You got to ask the Rahman, the Rahim, the Rabbi Alameen, Maliki Deen for something, but he forgot it. My servant shall ask, what are you going to ask Allah for? And you may Imam have that. Surat al-Mustaqim. What are you asking for? What does Muslim mean? One who surrenders his will to give the will of Allah. That's what al-Islam is. So what do we have that nothing else in creation has? A degree above the angels, a free will. Biggest problem we could have. Biggest problem we could have. Yeah, man, you don't know what you're talking about, brother. You mean, because I got proof of it right here, man, in black and white. So I say, oh Allah, make me to surrender and to give up my free will. That's what I ask you for. Okay, and put into me, when I put my head down here, when I put my kingdom, my kingdom on high, my heavenly self, your soul is pledged for your deeds. Make my deeds, my soul, to be in consistent nature with what you intend for me. Amen. So, like you said, the words make people. Read, make the world. And your father, he was one. Anything that we can go back, anything that he's had, or Allah has guided us from him to be able to leave us. You can't never say you heard something from it. Because like he says, when he came into office, And when he came, he was talking leadership. He said, I didn't believe that Allah was going to let me die with what he was raining down on me. I wasn't looking for men. I was looking for empty vessels to put men into. And I found a lot of empty vessels in the house of Elijah. That's why we got to empower the Ummi. No one can be more concerned unconditionally about a human being than our mothers. That's it. That's it. If we had them at the table, this would not be a weapon of mass destruction. Okay, so you come in the room, you got all these soldiers and everything, they got all their rifles. Mom, what you doing here? Boy, what you doing here? Boy, we trying to get this, get the vote on this. Well, get out here, man. It'll do what? It'll blow up a house? No, it'll blow up a daycare center? It'll blow up a hospital? It'll blow up a senior citizen's home? For what? So y'all can generate what? Ain't no more let that happen. And the equality of the child, like you said, wow, you gave Wallace more than you gave me. That ain't fair. Oh, boy, just take it. No. No, be just and fair. That child is looking for fairness and justice. You know what I mean? So he say, get off my couch. What y'all doing in my living room? Don't go in my refrigerator. Go upstairs to your room. They go upstairs to the room and say, what you doing in here? Well, you said everything else belonged to you. It's your house, it's your chair, it's your refrigerator, it's your couch. Now you're going to go and tell me, leave me alone, let me get my room together, you know, the way I want. So that violates fairness and justice sometimes. But the only ones can do that is the mothers. Amen. The only one who can do that is the mother. Man. Praise be to Allah. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to tell y'all, when I say my title, I never wanted to be a lieutenant, I never wanted to be an imam, never wanted to be a minister. The first books on the 40 Hadith, y'all know they came here, and Dr. Deen Ibrahim had visited with the chief, and he told him that though it had never been approved for so few Hadiths to be published, they were going to allow it to happen. So Dr. Deen Ibrahim was here in Chicago, and the chief called me to tell me that he wanted me to meet with him and that he was going to go and send the 40 hadiths back, but he was going back to London. So he said, so I said, okay. He said he would call me. I talked to him. So when the hadiths came, I had to go down to customs. I'd never been down there before. It's called opening and closing, where you get something that's exported. So I went down there to customs. So the guy, he had him in the crate. And he took me in the room, he took him out, he looked at him, he checked them, and he approved it. So those were the first 40 hadiths.
Was that a new publication? Had it been
That
printed
had, no, had never, place. That was it.
That was printed for
it was in all, no, it was just printed. Yeah, it had been translated.
Translated for
right, Dr. Izzadeen.
So
right.
Was it called 40 hadiths?
40 hadiths.
Always
right.
been 40 hadiths around.
Because the Qazi's over.
First US copy.
Yeah, so when we was going to Qazi was the first ones to get the non-volumes of al-Bukhari. Okay, so that's when I used to go over there a lot, you know, and get publications. So in the 40 hadiths, I remember reading, no one of you can come to real faith or be a true believer until you want for your brother what you want for yourself. So now this is the way I take that hadith and apply it. When I meet your children, your grandchildren, don't introduce me. Permit me to introduce myself. I said, do you all know who I am? No, well, Dad, you know, Abby or Papa or whatever, we never saw him in our family circle before. I'm your father and mother's brother. And I have been since Adam and Eve. And nothing can change that. So if I can't be a true believer or have true faith until I want for you what I want for myself, it ain't about the business. I'm obligating myself and my brother and sister, okay, Deen and Robin's absence, to care for my nieces and nephews equally or greater if you were there. So I'm Uncle Ahmad, that's my handle.
Believe it or not,
Mhm.
I kind of nickname my non-Muslim people that my children see, they little, they see, they, this person ringing the doorbell, you always come.
That's
It's
right.
Uncle so-and-so.
That's right.
I
That's
call
right.
them uncle.
Praise be to Allah. That's good. That's alhamdulillah.
If they old.
Yeah. So the children
I
will
don't
be.
have a lot of friends my age. They genocide most of them. I don't know. In Chicago, I don't know.
So the children will be around me. I have a nephew, and he's always coming to, you need me for anything, come pick me up. So one day his daughter, she's probably about 9 years old, Demaya, so they live quite a ways away from me. So today she had to go to little programs and stuff like that there, so he had to come pick me up. So when he got to my house, man, he said, Demaya been crying all the way up here, man. She would not stop crying. Because whenever she's in the car with me, she would say, Uncle Ahmad talk too much. Uncle Ahmad talk too much. She'd be sitting in the back. So he said, man, I got to see her. So I went out there, she was tears in the eyes and everything. She said, why we got to go get Uncle Ahmad? Why don't he just move right next door to us? That's how children are, man. They go straight to the truth of matters.
But there's something about the power of the culture that has on our children too, where I used to think sometimes it could be our disposition or our parenting. Maybe at a time,
Quran tells you.
yeah, but the
Would you
children
follow the way of
disagree
your
with you.
forefathers, even though they were wrong, they would manifest error?
Yeah.
Because we've been deceived, our children are looking at hypocrisy.
Yeah, that is on us. But now, that when you pick up that cell phone, I think that the most dangerous thing about the cell phone and the technology, it's a middleman in between the social interaction that we've probably had for millions of years as human beings, where you look at a person and you can feel them. I don't know if you're conscious of it, but you can smell them. You can sense things. You can read their movements, their emotions. You can see their sincerity. But with this technology, you only get a one-dimensional level of things. And so now when you come to them as a human being and you offering and you opening doors, they like that elephant Imam used to talk about, that when they took the chain off his leg, the elephant still stayed in the room. They said, well, he can leave,
Yeah.
he's free.
Well,
These kids don't listen to us, and the young people don't trust us and don't respect us because they have not been taught how to be human. They're taught to ignore you. Now, you say, I've been telling you that 100 times. And it takes they be 30, 40 years old, then they say, oh, Mama, you was right. I should have listened to you. But the youngsters, they got our kids. They brainwash them whenever they want, unless you're there with them every day like Mama. And I pick my kids, I pick them up from school and everything. I would go homeless, I'd eat snow or something before I would relinquish the freedom that Allah has given me to be present for my children. But that's the only way. Because I've done experiments like my dad done experiments, with freedom. He experimented with freedom with us. He let us do whatever we want. And I appreciate and respect it. But all of the siblings that he gave that same freedom, they didn't see that door open for them. I saw a door. I was like, Daddy, let me. Daddy used to pop you upside the head if you just did something without asking. But he got the doors open, so I ran through the open door. But everybody don't do that. And most of these kids these days, you give them something, they look at you like you're stupid. Like, give me this for? I'm like, there's a lot of potential in this. I did this for 20, 30 years. You should pick it up. You can learn something from it. But if you ain't got the degree, or you don't talk like the white man, you don't walk and dress like him, you ain't got his money, a lot of times black men get rejected by their own kids and their own family because they black, no other reason. Or because you have a